All right. Welcome, everybody, to a Victory Monday edition of the Big Douglas Show. As always, Chris Baker is along for the ride, and our guest today is Kevin Stanfield. Kevin, long time in the making. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Thanks so much for having me on, especially on a Victory Monday. I know this is it's kind of a new experience for me, being on your show and the Victory Monday. I'm
I was going
thrilled,
to say,
man.
it's a new experience, Victory Mondays, for all of us around here. We've been dogging and complaining for a minute now.
Hey, we got
Obviously,
back to
we'll get
back Victory Mondays though. We got back to back. You know what
That's
I mean?
right.
that's right.
So
Hey, apparently Matt Ryan out next week, and Sam Ellinger, the rookie, in. So maybe there is a chance that next week is a whole lot easier than we expected. Swag,
Ooh.
before we get to the game, though, it was Alumni Weekend. Tell us, I know you were there. Tell us how it went.
oh man, it was a great experience, man. Tim Hightower did a great job. Now he's in control of getting all the alumni together and back around the team and making us feel a part of the new of the new organization. So it was great to see so many of the older players who played before us. Some of the guys that I had the opportunity to play with. It's always great seeing Fred Davis and Clinton Portis and Santana Moss and London Fletcher, D Hall. It was all the guys that I played with, and then seeing all the legends like before us that was like my grandfather age. You look at these guys like, yo, I've seen these guys on NFL films, but this is like my first time really seeing them. You know what I mean? So it was great to see the guys who really laid the foundation for the whole organization. Even though we've changed the name to the Commanders, the format of the team was always the Redskins, and it was great to see the Redskins players who marked the name for the foundation come back around and be a part of the new organization as the team continue to move forward in a new light.
How does that work, Swag? They call you up and say, "Hey, we're going to put this thing together." That's Tim Hightower, where people just show up. What's the deal there, and what kind of setup did they have for you guys? I saw a bunch of like at the Legends Plaza, and I saw a lot of autograph signing going on.
Well, I think Tim and obviously a lot of other people who helped Tim out, but Tim is mainly the main point guy for us as players. But there's always other people behind the scenes. But they reach out all year and they get things done so that we can have a great time. They plan, also weekend. They had a charity event Saturday morning. I wasn't able to attend that, but they had the meet and greet Saturday afternoon with all the former legends from every decade. They had something on Friday, I believe, in Ashburn. They had something with like the wide receivers or something at DC Prime Steakhouse.
Yeah, I
Uh,
saw that.
yeah, so it was a great opportunity just to have those older guys who played at our level but actually won Super Bowls, have those guys come and be a part of these young players' lives. Because even though we're all professionals and we made it to the NFL, none of us have had the opportunity to win a Super Bowl and to be able to talk to people from your own organization. To ask those guys, what did it take? How did it feel? It's the best feeling ever. Like being around the older guys, the older players, they always have so much pride in the team and just always want us to do well. And when you have those conversations and you listen to how it felt for the neighborhood, for all of DC, all of Washington, all of Virginia, when they won the Super Bowl, it's like you're forever ingrained into the community. Like even if you don't, win a Super Bowl, as long as you play well here in Washington D.C., the community is always going to love you. But if you get that Super Bowl, you're forever stitched into the land. Like you never die here. You know what I mean? So being able to hear those stories, being able to hear, the best thing about football is not even actually playing football sometimes. It's just about building the relationships and having a locker room talking. When you talk about the guys joking on other guys on the airplane about their outfits and the offense versus defense, who dresses the better. Like those were the stories that you love to hear from the older guys. And it's like no matter how far apart we are, we all pretty much did the same thing. We always talking junk to each other. We always had a good time being around each other. And, when you play as a professional, these guys on your team really become your family because you spend more time with these guys in the locker room than you do with your own family because you're there all day, every day with these guys. So you build a special bond. And to see these guys 30, 40 years after they're done playing, when they get around each other, it's just all reminiscing, talking about old games and 1970 this. I'm like, bro, you guys remember all those plays from back then? It's amazing to see it, man. So we had a really good time. Just obviously these guys are much older than us, but it was still great just to sit back and just listen to these guys talk about old games, old Super Bowls, old playoffs, how they played through injuries, and it's really amazing, man. So Tim did a good job at getting all the guys back and really putting us together, old guys with the younger guys, and hopefully we get some more guys who are my age. I feel like I was probably the youngest guy there, which is a good thing.
Right.
But,
Kevin, it's interesting. The last couple of weeks, it feels like there's been like this referendum on how you're supposed to fan. I'm curious where you stand in your fandom. Do you still go to games? Like, where are you? Are you I'll believe it when I see it type of fan? Are you listen, I'm a fan no matter what? Where you sit that way?
Well, I hate to admit this, since Chris was saying how young he was, but I remember Sonny and Billy and Joe, and I've been here I'm a fan, for life, right? I grew up listening to the games when the home games were blacked out. I don't know, Chris, you didn't know about that, did you? There used to be a time when all the home games were blacked out. You couldn't see a home game on TV. You had to go to.
Born then.
Yeah, we had.
Born until '87.
There might have been. Look, I remember when we got color, man. So yeah. So to answer your question, yeah, I'm a fan, but I still think that you can be critical of the team and still be a fan. It's just like your brother, right? You tell your brother, straighten up, man. Put your shirt tail in, shine your shoes, and still love your brother, right? So that's why I am. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm through with him. I'll never be through with him. That's what's fun about this. Just like Chris said, you're a part of it. I mean, even if you don't win a Super Bowl, you're still part of this thing for life, right? Yep. So I'm part of this thing for life too. Win, lose, or draw. As a matter of fact, you're talking about double victory Monday. I'm charting our playoff course, man. Let's see what's it going to take, right?
That's it.
Yeah,
I'm in this thing, man.
And it's funny because you don't win that game, and slowly but surely, myself included, we're looking at the draft, and winning games and it's important. I got to hit the reset button, and it's funny what a win can do. Swag, I'm curious. It feels like it, and this confuses me sometimes. That's why I'm curious to get your opinion on this. But the locker room gets excited when Heinicke gets in the game, and you can feel it. And it feels like they haven't been that excited about a guy in a while. Can you remember a circumstance like that for yourself?
Kind of, sort of. It was kind of like at the end of like the RG3 era, and guys was like, F it. Is Kurt going to play or if he's not? Like, let's just put him in. Let's see what we got. He does good in practice. He's the Jay Gruden type of guy. So let's put him in the game and let him go. So I think when we made that switch from RG to Kirk Cousins, I think guys were really excited. It was like, he may give us a chance to make it to the playoffs. He may be the better quarterback out of the two for what Jay Gruden is asking these guys to do. But I feel like that same type of attitude has been taking place with Taylor Heinicke, just because over the last couple of years he's been that spark plug that no one expected anything from, and time after time he finds a way to win a game. And my whole attitude when we got Carson Wentz, it was like, well, if we won 8 games with Taylor Heinicke, then if we get a guy like Carson Wentz, we should be able to win 10 or 11. But that hasn't been the case. But for whatever reason, Taylor came in and made the plays that we needed to make in order to win the game. He converted some really big third downs, was able to get outside the pocket, extend some plays. Well, hopefully, now that he's gotten some game reps, he'll understand and start feeling, those rushers coming from behind and slide a little bit faster so he doesn't have a freaking fumble return for a touchdown. But thank God it was a penalty on that play.
That's right.
It was great to see him out there, man. The stadium was definitely fired up, man. It was great to see him out there. And
it's frustrating when they call those on us, but I'll take that penalty on Eric Stokes any day of the week. I still can't believe how far off I was, and I was a big fan, Kevin, of McLaurin I'm trying to remember the last time we had a guy like that. Maybe Pierre Garçon that really just like had that fire in him. It was like, come get some. Jared Alexander is top 5 corner in the league for my money. And Terry wanted that work with him. I was pumped about that. What'd you think, Kevin?
Well, the game is designed to favor the offense anyway, right?
Yep.
So with enough time, any receiver should get open. I'm talking as a guy sitting in his basement, right? But it's with enough time. And Chris, you correct me if I'm wrong. That was one of the few times Heinicke was able to just sit back, drop back 5-7 or whatever, and look deep. It seemed like he had one eye on the rush. Unfortunately, he has enough mobility, but it's good to have a guy. It seems like everyone else's guys can get open. Every team whose number one receiver is available can get open, and it was just a matter of us not being able to have the time to find that guy. But I love the way that you see that fire from Terry after he produces. You don't see him on the sideline throwing a tantrum, demanding the ball and knocking over Gatorade and stuff. But after he produces, he lets you know he's there. As a matter of fact, I was a little concerned. Do they still have the taunting penalties in the NFL? Because he was borderline a couple of times, right? But I was happy for him.
He had to look back and let him know, hey, I'm that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you didn't know, now you know, right? Right. So I'm excited. I'm again playoff charts. I don't care who it is, right? Wild card, third wild card. Hey, division champs. It's still early, right? We gotta see Philly again. We gotta see Dallas again, right? Anything is possible. That answers the earlier question. That's the kind of fan I am. Right.
And I found it interesting too. Terry comes off after that touchdown celebration, cursing and yelling and looking at Ron, and Ron gave him the little small golf clap. I was like, man, I wanted to see like a McVay hip bump up in the air or something, but that's just not who he is. Chris, are you interested in taking back your comments from earlier this season about Jack Del Rio? The defense is humming.
You said me?
Yeah, you were concerned that the man couldn't do it anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just my preference. I like the aggressive style defense. I like that defense that's sending in extra rushers and making that quarterback very uncomfortable. But like I said, it's like if our guys are able to make those spectacular plays and get that quarterback off the spot, then we win. But if our guys are not able to make those spectacular plays, then we suffer. But our guys did a great job at really beating the guy across from them yesterday and causing havoc in the background, getting the quarterback off the spot and making him throw it a little bit faster than he really wanted to. And a guy like Aaron Rodgers, he's seen it all. There's nothing he can really do to really confuse him, but we did a good job at being able to play coverage but keep him in the pocket. And even when he did have design plays where he scrambled out, we did a good job of not letting him really have the edge and all the time just to let it loose and let him rip it downfield. So he did a good job. Jack Del Rio did a good job this week. We got the win. I'm happy about it. But at the same time, I still would like to see more of a Wink Martindale type of defense where we're just sitting in the freaking house every fucking play.
Chris, how frustrating is it as a tackle? Yesterday it was obvious that the game plan for the Packers was Aaron Rodgers was going to get the ball out of his hand in about 2 seconds. I mean, I don't think they got a pressure yesterday, much less a sack. That's okay because without having to do that, you had already forced them to re-game plan. But how frustrating is it for you as a player to stay dedicated to what you're supposed to be doing and not just wanting to go run as fast as you can to the quarterback?
It's very frustrating, and you saw it a couple times. But good thing his receivers couldn't catch the ball and they dropped it. But guys got a little frustrated, took inside pass rush moves, and as soon as Aaron sees that edge open, he slid right outside and was able to get a pass down the field. But his guys weren't good enough to make the catch. But you got to stay disciplined. It's really hard when you play those quarterbacks who get the ball out their hand really fast, i.e. like a Tom Brady or Drew Brees. Drew Brees was one of those guys who just got the ball out really quick. If his first target wasn't open, he's getting it right down to the check down. So you just have to, stay disciplined as a defensive lineman, continue to try and push the pocket and get your hands up and make him frustrated by batting balls down. Because just like the quarterback doesn't like getting sacked, he hates getting the ball batted down too. So that's another part of just making the quarterback very frustrated. And when you got a guy like that who gets the ball out so quick, the only thing that you could basically do is push the pocket in on him, make him feel uncomfortable, try and make him scramble when he doesn't want to scramble, and just make it difficult and try and bat as many balls as you can. You bat a couple balls down, he's going to start thinking about, hey, maybe I have to put a little spin on it. Maybe I have to throw it this way in order to get it over these guys and stop them from batting the ball down. But you just got to stay disciplined and just do what you got to do to try and win a game. And I think these guys did a good job yesterday. By
the end of the first quarter, Aaron Rodgers looked uninterested in playing football in that game.
Right.
I mean, he did not look interested. I have never seen the clock's winding down. They've got the ball in the first quarter. There's enough time to at least go up there and bark at the line, which he may be the best in the league at doing. And they just walked off without even attempting to draw us off sides. I was stunned by that. Just totally not Aaron Rodgers like. Kevin,
and Aaron Rodgers was so difficult when we played against him because he was always the type to catch you with 11 or 12 guys on the field and hurry up. Especially after big plays, he always ran to the ball really quick and just snapped the play just to get you off balance. So it was kind of odd not to see that from yesterday or even this whole year with Aaron with his offense that he has. He's always good for at least 3 penalties where he's catching guys trying to substitute after big plays because that's just been a part of his MO his whole career.
Kevin, this is your first time on the show, so it's our first time really getting a chance to talk to you. When I was curious, before the season started, where were your expectations kind of at? This is year 3 in the Ron Rivera regime. He kept telling us this was the one. Were you buying into Carson Wentz? Were you optimistic? Were you a little optimistic about it? Where were you before the season started?
I was very optimistic. I was like Chris. We said we won 7 with Taylor. Wentz, with his experience and his talent, that should be a little bit of an edge. You had Curtis Samuel coming back, and we always promised that if we had more weapons, we'd be more effective. The thing I heard that gave me concern, I don't know what happened with him in Philadelphia. I know that whoever got rid of him, they're also gone. I don't know what happened with Indy. I know they made the playoffs, but I heard that it takes a quarterback a while to learn a system. It's almost like learning a new language. If you move to France, you could get by, but to be fluent, you got to immerse yourself. I was concerned that we didn't give Taylor enough of a chance right then, and we could have gone use our capital and gotten a young quarterback and developed him as opposed to getting a brand new guy and teaching him the system. But I was looking at the Cowboys and the Giants and saying, well, we're at least as good as these teams. The Eagles I was concerned about because the Eagles always play crazy. They're a wild card, right? But I think that's why this season has been so disappointing as of this point, because my expectations were so high. I expected us to compete, and that's what hurt the most. We weren't competitive in those first couple of games defensively. We put up some numbers, but it was like a lot of, coming back against Jacksonville and letting Detroit do what they did. I was in the Jack Del Rio catapult camp. I mean, like take him and launch him as far. And I haven't changed my mind yet. And let me ask Chris this: is there a pecking order in this team? Can you tell who the best guys are? Because it seemed to me when you were playing, the best guys played all the time, unless they absolutely had to come out. But they're rotating these guys like they got a snap count nowadays.
Well, I think, to be honest, the best way to make it through the season is to have that snap count. When you get guys that are playing 70, 80% of the plays week in and week out, it's a recipe for disaster because it's not a matter of if they're going to get hurt, it's when they're going to get hurt. The best guys, even though you always say the best guys need to be on the field all the time, they need to play. But if you run those guys into the ground at the end of the season, when you really need these guys to perform on a high level, their bodies are sore just because of all the pounding they went through. That's why it's so important as an organization to have depth. So you guys could play a series and then your best player could rest maybe for like the first 4 or 5 plays of the next series, and then come in fresh to close the series out, get the offense off the field. But when you have to
Wait, you're talking specifically D tackles, right?
D tackles mainly, like, because DBs, they play all, like, every snap. I never really seen the corners rotate at all. Once they're out there, they're out there. But defensive line wise, you have to keep a fresh rotation. Like, you're not going to get the same John Allen that you had play 20 on play 55 when he's played every single snap. You know what I mean? And you saw a couple of times in the game, I believe it was Sweat. It was one time he probably could have made a couple moves and got outside and chased the quarterback, but he was so freaking tired from being out there for so long. So there is a fine edge that you have to be able to play with. You have to have the kind of depth that allows you to give those guys rest without putting in guys and then the offense just scoring in 2 or 3 plays. So, you know, it's definitely a fine edge that you have to play with, but that's the job of the GM to bring in those type of players where if you do take your starter out, when that backup comes in, the level of play doesn't drop off. But if you want to be effective, you need guys to be able to rotate so that guys aren't playing 70, 80, 90% of the snaps. If those guys play, you know, 60, 50, anywhere between like 50 and 65% of the plays, you'll start seeing a better product because when they're out there, they're more fresh, if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Coach looks like he's getting righter by the day. Jamin Davis looks really good. I've been extremely impressed by the way he's been able to kind of bounce back from his scorning, if you will, the first week or 2 of the season. I still don't know why they went that route, but if that's what it took to get him going, good on him, because I thought he played fantastic yesterday. This team looks like it may be built to be able to play good defense. I mean, listen, the defense didn't give up very many points yesterday. They gave up that 7 at the very end, which kind of felt to me.
I blame that touchdown on them damn refs. All those bogus penalties that they were calling on 3rd down.
It was a weird game yesterday. The officiating was terrible, and it might have been the longest first half of football I ever watched in my life. I mean, that thing went on forever. I actually watched like half of the 3rd quarter of the Baltimore game while we were in halftime.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The fumble call, which wasn't a fumble to me, against Brian Robinson. He's laying on the ground.
20 minutes.
Yeah. He's laying. What else do you need, right? You have to have indisputable evidence to turn it over. He's laying on the ground with the ball, his hand on the ball. What else do you need, right? So
that was the longest review I've ever experienced in my life. That was crazy. At least 15 minutes. I'm like, bro, are they still reviewing this fumble? What's going on?
Well, and the fact that you had to challenge the review on the Heinicke pass where the arm's obviously going forward.
That was clear. Like,
I hate that you have to use the challenge on that.
Yeah, what is the point? Yeah, and Matt LaFleur, he's gotten so much ref time and camera time. It's like, it was like a family reunion on this sideline with the refs all the time.
Matt LaFleur had the skinniest pants on I've ever seen a man wear.
Yeah, I know he was.
Greg, you don't wear pants that small, do you?
On that fumble return for a touchdown.
Oh yeah. He was livid.
He was pissed. I was like, oh shit, it's a flag out there. Oh, illegal hit. Oh, perfect.
Hey, he shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't have touched him.
It's unfortunate that we're at the point now that, like, after every big play, everybody's looking around for a flag. I absolutely hate that. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time being negative today because of the victory. I will say this, though. They got the 2-headed running back monster humming. I feel really bad for McKissick. I mean, he left Buffalo to come back. And, I mean, if he's getting 3 snaps, 3 targets a game, they got to find some way to get at least 2 backs on the field at all times, to me, so that those 2 – like, you know what? It makes a lot of sense to me now. I think a lot of people and myself were complaining about how they used Gibson the first 2 years. It is now quite obvious that they were using Gibson the way they're using Brian Robinson now because they didn't want to have 2 similar backs out there because Gibson really can be quite similar to McKissick. To me, that there's no reason not to still use him, though. right? I mean, get your best playmakers on the field. And in a day yesterday when De'Ami Brown or Jahan Dotson is not playing, I really thought maybe they were going to feature McKissick. Kevin, he's got to be disappointing.
It depends on the reason he came back. If he was, I have no problem with people, as they say, chasing rings, right? If you can, it's a business for the players too. And if you can improve your position and improve your position financially and get with a better team, go for it. But maybe it was that love of the area that brought him back, whatever it is. But if he's that type of guy who loves the organization, I think that he'll be just like Terry was. Everybody wants to contribute, right? Whether it's for a personal reason or to help the team win. But there's going to be a chance for him to contribute this season. Always, it's going to be that matchup, and if he just keeps his head up and keeps in it and keeps with it, it seems like he's a team player first. I think he's going to be all right.
Chris, I saw an interview where Gibson said that McKissick is the funniest guy on the team. Who was the funniest guy on the team when you played?
I think I'll take some of that credit.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me at
all. We had a bunch of funny guys. Fred Davis was one. He was always a character. Aldrick Robinson was really a funny guy. I don't know. I mean, I'll take credit for myself. I feel like I was always the life of the party and kept guys laughing, moving around all the time. Sometimes the coaches hated that because they felt like I was too silly, but that's just my personality. That's just how I rock. I'm in practice dancing. I get into games, I'm dancing, I'm interacting with the fans. I mean, that's just me. Like we was talking about it the other day. We used to do this fashion show for Becky Lee. She had a big fashion show for bringing awareness to domestic violence against women. And my first time doing them, I was working on my modeling career. I go down there and I start modeling. I say, yo, make me the last model. So I go down there and I start dancing. I lift my shirt up and it went viral on TMZ Sports. And then Becky Lee's foundation just went through the roof. But I was like, I've always been that life of the party, funny guy. So I'm gonna take credit as one of the funniest guys on the team.
Let's give out some game balls.
All right.
Kevin, who gets your game ball for yesterday?
You know what? I'm gonna give one that you don't expect. I'm gonna say Tress Way, because the punt, whatever he's doing for the past two games, he's had two muffs. So he must have something that he's doing to the ball, because both of these were game changers, right? Both of those muffs. Yeah. So. And he's consistent, game in and game out. He's going to boot something, right? So I'm going to give one to Tress Way, and the entire defense, because they've been much maligned, and rightly so. They haven't been playing up to what we thought they were going to play, but this was a must-win game, and I think they stepped up. And you saw some passion. I don't know if it was ignited by Terry, or if it was ignited by Taylor or something, but I saw some passion that I haven't seen earlier. I want to see some more trash talking. I want to see, I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but I want to see a little bit more violence. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I want to see some pain inflicted. And so I'm thinking they're looking. I mean, the way I looked at it, they saw that they had an opportunity to do that, and they started doing it, right? So Tress Way and the entire defense.
Swaggy, what about you?
I'm going with our defense, and I'm going with Scary Terry, man. He made some very tough plays and clutch plays. It was like, bro, 3rd and 12, and you make the catch for 14 yards. It was like, yes!
And a hell of a play by the play caller, too. That's a dangerous play to call right there if you're Scott Turner, right? I mean,
it is, man, because the last thing you want is to give Aaron Rodgers the ball with 2 minutes to go and have a chance to. All he needs is a freaking field goal. I'm like, yo, even on the last two plays, I'm like, bro, how much time is left? Okay, it's 5 seconds. Just keep it out of the end zone. So I'm gonna give a game ball to our defense and Scary Terry, man, because Scary made it. Terry made the plays that we really needed, in clutch moments. It was like you gotta have it moments, and if you don't have those players to step up and make those type of plays, we don't win that game. So those are the game balls I'll give out for tomorrow.
Well, and it's interesting too. For me personally, I thought maybe with Heinicke in the game, he'd have force-fed Sims a little bit more since they had kind of that rapport from playing on the second unit together. But it made you realize, like, he went out of his way to feed Terry the ball, and it makes you wonder why Carson refused to do that in his starts.
Well, I feel like Taylor Heinicke plays with that mindset of, like, I have nothing to lose. Like, if we lose,
well, he does.
Absolutely.
if we lose, people expect me to lose. If I go out here and do something spectacular, it's like, wow, this guy is really pretty freaking good. So it's just like, he just got to go out there and wing it. And sometimes that's like the best way to win a game when you have a quarterback that just says, F it. Whatever happens, happens. And I'm going to take a chance. And then you got other guys that's just like, I don't want to take this chance because if I throw this interception and they're going to start talking about me this way, that way, I feel like Taylor just like, I don't give a shit like what anyone says. I'm just going to go out here and play. If I fumble, then hopefully our defense could give us the ball back. If I throw an interception, hopefully our defense can give us the ball back. But I'm going to give Terry a shot to go make this catch. And he did that, and Terry was making those freaking catches. And, like our offensive line hasn't been doing the greatest all year. But when you put a guy like Taylor in who can scramble and make off-script plays, that's sometimes the best thing for a receiver is to run that route and then see that quarterback scrambling. You just find that open area within the zone or you beat that guy from man to man and make a big play. And I feel like Taylor gave us that ability yesterday when he was able to scramble out and really extend some plays and make things happen downfield.
And it's one of those things where you don't really think about it until you can kind of see it. But it was excellent center play yesterday. Larson was excellent yesterday, and we haven't had that. High snaps, low snaps, wrong time snaps from two different centers. I will complain for 1 second here. That is why I always never understood with Ron about why they just use Schweitzer as the backup center. Because when the center goes down, you now have to put two backups in. Schweitzer is the backup center, and now you have to put the backup guard in. That being said, also, I hope when the Cosme comes back, I hope they'll move him to guard because Lucas has been playing too good at right tackle in my mind to take him out. But you're right, Swag. It was noticeable how, and I wouldn't have guessed this, but Heinicke's pocket presence really helped them out. They looked so much better yesterday.
Yeah, and that's surprising too, especially with the two bookend outside linebackers that Green Bay have with Smith and Preston who played here. Those guys are perennial 10-plus sack guys, so you would expect those guys to make those plays, and time after time, you'll just see Taylor dunking under one of them or just breaking contain and being able to just make a play. So it was great to see. The alumni were super excited. The first thing people would say was, why the hell would they put Green Bay as the alumni week? Like, well, we got Green Bay at the right time.
It's obviously that there's no throwback jerseys to wear, right?
Right.
I thought that was a little interesting.
That's right.
Yeah.
Last one, St. Juice is also, they were forced to put him outside, which he always belonged outside. He's been really, really good outside. And you can notice it's a noticeable difference with the defense, too. Fortunately, I guess William Jackson's back isn't going to be good enough to get him back anytime soon.
I was talking to some of the guys about that, too. I'm like, are we about to trade him? Because we paid him too much money for him. He's supposed to be a number one corner. Like, I don't
not
think
even close. Yeah.
I don't think he has a back injury. I think that's just Ron saying, F it. Like, he's not playing no more. We're going to find a way to get rid of him, or maybe we keep him.
Totally agree. All right, let's wrap.
What do you mean I'm hurt?
Yeah, right. Yeah. He says the back's hurt. Ron doesn't say that. Let's wrap with this. Where are we now? Before the show started, the news came down. No Matt Ryan for the Colts next week. Sam Ellinger will be in just the game we expected, right? Ellinger versus Heinicke in the Carson Colts revenge game. Kevin, are you excited? Do you feel like we're heading in the right direction? where are you at here? One game before the halfway point.
I'm very excited. I think this is an opportunity for us to make some noise. I think that this is the ideal time, like Chris was saying, to like, you know, bring the house, right. Let's shake this kid up. Let's, you know, we'll either end a career right now or we'll create a legend. You know,
Right.
if we bring the house, if we can shake this kid up and play our game, you know, I love the ball control aspect of what we did yesterday with Robinson and Gibson. If we can act like we're the dominant team, if we can be the dominant team, I'm excited because I think that excitement we saw on the sideline yesterday, we can carry that over from week to week. That will become the identity. This team hasn't really had an identity as of late. It's not a watch out, here we come type of thing. It's been oh, well, let's see what happens. But if they come out and establish who we are, like Terry said, this is who I am, you all get used to it, right? I'm very excited for this coming game and for the rest of the season.
And Swaggy, I know you're generally an optimist. You got to be feeling pretty good, right?
Hell yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, man. We got to win this game. Shoot, should we just beat Aaron Rodgers? You think I'm not picking against the quarterback? I don't even know who the quarterback name is.
Yeah,
we better win this
whoever he
game.
is.
But you know what, though? Even though you know, they could have the same optimism that we have about Heinicke and just having, you know, a fresh quarterback back there with nothing to lose. And at the end of the day, everyone's a professional at this league, so we're still going to have to, you know, put our big boy pants on and come out there and play ball because they have, quote unquote, one of the best running backs in the NFL.
That's right.
On that Colts team. So if we're not able to stop that run, if they're able to run the ball 6, 7, 8 yards every time they get the ball, no matter what quarterback you have back there, if you do that play action, every quarterback can complete a pass to the flat to the tight end for a first down. So we have to do a good job at really putting them in second and third and long throughout the whole game and put the pressure on the quarterback to make the right throw all game.
I no doubt. I can't imagine we're not going to see an extremely heavy dose of Jonathan Taylor next week.
No doubt about it.
Fellas, as always, had a great time, Kevin. It was well worth the wait. We appreciate you coming on today.
Oh, man, love it. Can I give a quick plug for our show, man?
Absolutely, please.
Hey, we're the Federal Football Report with myself and Claude Jennings. We're on a podcast one, and when the Wizards and the Capitals and the Nationals aren't playing, we're on 1500 AM in Washington, D.C. So give us a listen. I'm on @StanphilKevin on Twitter. And, man, I absolutely love this, man. This was great. I learned so much, man. I didn't know I was going to be in the classroom today. Chris, you taught me so much, man, about the inner workings of the game. I know what I'm talking about when I'm in my basement yelling and screaming now. I said, well, Chris said this is supposed to happen, but I appreciate it, man. I really do.
Absolutely. And I'll include a link to the show you got with this one.
All right, cool. Absolutely. I'll do the same, man.
All right. Excellent. And Swag, I'll see you next Monday.
Always, baby. Always.
All right. Thanks, fellas.
Appreciate it.